What's up, guys? So today, I just keep laughing. I have no idea why. I guess before I start out, I'm just going to address that I'm wearing a Panic at the Disco shirt and bracelet somewhere around here. Anyone listen to Panic at the Disco? And is anyone else sad about the state of the fact that Spencer is out of the band? I mean, he has been for a while, but now it's like official. Now it's Brendan, and God, my heart, it aches. Anyway, so that's what we're not here about that today. We're here for something else. So my last paranormal vlog actually was pretty... My laptop's over here, by the way. Do you like my duality sticker for Set It Off? I got that at the concert as well. Anyway, so my laptop's over here because we actually have a couple of tags. We're doing tags today. So my last paranormal vlog was actually really well received. So I had someone in particular, it was Paranormal Researcher, ask if I could answer some of these tag questions because they are interested. I feel like I'm really like at an odd angle or really close or something. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, Vogue. They're interested in... Thank you for liking my photo. Again. Oh my god. Someone is like blowing up my Instagram right now. Trey versus himself. Thank you. I'm just gonna calmly wait for this to calm down. Okay, it seems like we're good. So, Paranormal Researcher. Okay. Thank you, Trey versus himself. Follow for follow. I will get to that in a minute. So, like I've been trying to say, I'm filming on my phone, by the way, which is why this is happening. This is why this is happening to me. I asked for this. Paranormal Researcher is mostly interested in dark spirits and alien abduction. So we have a couple of tags here, which are the dark spirits tag and the alien abduction tag. And actually my good friend Paige here on YouTube, which if you're not following her, you really should be. And I'm going to link her channel down below as well as Paranormal Researcher. But anyway, so I already told Paige about this, and we both really like paranormal things, and I'm going to be tagging her in this. So, surprise, Paige, you already know you're tagged, but you're tagged again. Officially, you're tagged, officially. And she's the only person I am specifically tagging, just because I don't know if anyone is really interested in paranormally types of things other than us two goofballs of ourselves. But if any of you watching this want to do this tag video as well, please consider yourself tagged. But where this is such a bizarre, abnormal topic, I am not specifically tagging anyone but Paige, because I know she's interested. So, without any further ado, I'm going to get into the Dark Spirits tag first, and then we'll go to the Alien Abduction tag. Okay. Do you have any experiences with dark spirits? So, obviously, I mean... You guys probably listened to my last paranormal vlog, which I did mention the sulfur smell, which is often indicative of demonic presence. But other than that, I do have another experience. And for some reason, when things happen to me regarding paranormal anything, it only happens for like 1 day or 2 days tops, and then nothing happens for a really long time, and then something will happen again, and it's like a weird cycle. But I don't remember if I did a video on this or not, but basically what happened, I don't mind telling the story again. This is when I was still living with my parents. This was like, I think in the middle of the summer. I was home alone. My family was on vacation or something, and I didn't go because I had to work. Apparently, it happened a lot, but I think this is one of those times. So... my family's on vacation. I'm home by myself, and I'm like, oh, cool. I get to stay up as late as I want, and I'm on Skype with my best friend. So we're on Skype. We're just kind of like hanging out, talking, and it gets to be like 2 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed because I have to work tomorrow. And she's like, okay. So then I sign off, and I'm laying in bed, and I can't fall asleep. So I'm pretty sure I was reading fan fictions on my phone. Not that that is of any relevance to anybody, but I'm reading on my phone, right? And I'm just laying there in bed, my door's closed, it always is, and I just hear this really, like, this faint tapping sound down the hall in the bathroom. And I ignore it because I'm like, we've got cats, whatevs. And, you know, eventually it keeps going, and it's a pattern. It's the pattern of, like, I'm gonna knock. That was loud. That was not loud. Whatever. So it was like 3 knocks at a time, which I ended up learning later generally is also thought to have something to do with not paranormal, like demonic presence, because the 3 knocks means it's basically putting down the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But I didn't know that at the time. I just know that I felt really uncomfortable, especially when it started to get loud enough that it sounded like it was pounding, but still in that same pattern. So I text Victoria, my best friend, and I'm like, okay, so something's happening and I'm really freaking out. Can you get back on Skype with me? She says, sure. So, because she was still awake anyway, it's not like I woke her up. I'm not that bad of a friend. I hope. Maybe. I don't know. So I plug my headphones in, and I put my headphones in trying to block it out, but I can still hear it. So I take one out, and I'm like, I should probably have an ear open anyway. But for some reason, like, it was one of those things where I felt so uncomfortable that I had the distinct feeling that if I were to make a sound, that something bad was going to happen, basically. And I'm just kind of sitting there, and I'm literally writing her out, like handwriting her notes so that I don't risk making the clicky click noise of my keyboard. But yeah, so that was really freaky, and the whole night basically kept progressing. Like, I could hear the computer, like the desktop computer in the hallway, keep turning on and off, like the Windows startup noise, on, off, like on, off. You know the sound it makes if you have a PC. But it kept doing that. Eventually I heard, like, the knocking on the window stopped, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm probably good now. And then I heard a pounding on the wall connecting my room to my sister's room, which literally the only thing in between those rooms is closets. That's all it is. There's a closet. Okay, so the way the wall is, like the wall is here. There's a closet here, which is in their room. There's a closet in the middle, which is in my room, and then there's a closet on this outer portion, which is the hallway closet. It's all closets all the way through, but I heard a knocking on the wall. And so I'm just kind of like ignoring that. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die tonight. I'm literally gonna die. And it seemed like the more I ignored it, the angrier the knocks seemed to get. And eventually that stopped, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But then there started, like, the knocking on the window started again, like in the bathroom, and I thought that's all it was gonna be. But then I heard it go around to the next window over, which was my sister's room, and the next window over, which was still in my sister's room, and then my window, and it went around the house like 3 times on all of the windows. Like, I'm talking like pounding the windows so they were shaking. And it literally, I literally have no idea why it stopped, but it just kind of stopped at about 5 in the morning, and I was finally able to get some sleep. Not much, because I had work at 10, but yeah, so that was freaky. And then I went to work, and my car started acting up, like the alarm started going off on its own, when it's never really done that before. There's just a whole bunch of really bizarre stuff. But there was that. That was a really long answer to that question. So, I'm sorry. Don't fall asleep on me, you computer problems. Okay, question 2. Have you ever noticed any unexplained scratches or claw marks or been attacked by a ghost? The best way I can answer this is, for me personally, I have not been attacked, but I did see my mother have something thrown at her by a spirit, and I have seen her get pushed down a set of stairs. So this all happened when my mom and I were living in, well, my mom, my dad, and I, it was before they got divorced, so I was probably about 3 years old, maybe 4 at the oldest. We had a couch in the living room, and I was sitting on this side of the couch here, which was like into the middle part of the living room, and my mom was sitting on the side that was like against the wall, and we were facing each other because we were talking, and there was a painting hanging on the wall above it, and I literally saw it come off the wall, like physically come off the wall, and then smash down onto my mother. So that being said, there was another time, same location, like same trailer we were living in, where my mother went outside to have a cigarette, and she physically, standing on the porch steps, like she physically got pushed down the steps by someone, and there was no one behind her. Like, she wasn't like open back to the open door or anything like that. And even then, I was the only one home. So my mom just gets pushed down the stairs, and she felt like she couldn't breathe, so she's just kind of there for a while, and then when she is finally able to go back inside, she's just immensely freaked out by it. And as far as like claw marks or scratches or anything like that, I don't know actually. Because I actually do vaguely remember something happening along those lines, but I don't remember what. So I'm going to say no for now, but if I think of it, I'm going to end up adding it down below, because I know there have been something that happened to me along those lines of scratches, but I don't remember. But my mom has been pushed, and my mom has had stuff thrown on top of her. So there's that. If so, where did you find the marks? That's question 3, and obviously I can't really answer. Oh my god, I just got so washed out. Anyway, so I can't really answer that, obviously, because, like I said, I don't really remember, so I can't give a proper answer on that. Moving on to 4. Have you ever had any bad dreams or visions that you were the subject of a ritual or being surrounded by dark figures? If so, what was the dream or dreams about? What were the figures trying to do to you? Okay. This is kind of hard for me to answer, because I have had several bizarre dreams, but I wouldn't necessarily say they were dark figures trying to do a ritual on me. However, that being said, there have been really bizarre dreams that I think would like fit into this category, so I'm just going to include them. And the first one being, I couldn't have been more than 3 years old. In the dream, I was laying in this, it was really hard to explain. It was this big room, this really big room, and there were basically cots against every wall. It was spaced out. Like, you know how you ever seen those like orphanage movies or something where the kids are like in the orphanage and they all have their own individual beds, but they're all in the same giant room? It was sort of like that. Everyone was wearing like really raggy clothing. I have no idea who I was in the dream or what I looked like or how old I was or anything, but I was 3 when I had this, so keep that in mind. And at that age, I'd never really had any exposure to like scary movies, or I was 3, so keep that in mind. But everyone's wearing like these rags, and I just remember waking up and like looking off to like one side, like this portion over here, and like I could sense like a darkness. And then I looked over to this portion over here, and I could sense, like, that I had to run. So I get up, and I run, and everyone starts running with me. And it was, like, literally, like, the end of the world, like, type of thing. It was really bizarre. And I woke up, and I was like, I want my mommy. But there was that one. That was weird. And then there was this one dream, which I did mention in a video on my channel, but it was basically where I was, like, traveling with one of my friends or something. And I don't know who the friend was, because it was literally no one I've ever seen before that I know of. And we were traveling somewhere, like going on a road trip, and we stayed at this house with like a bunch of other people. It wasn't like a hostel or anything, but there were just a bunch of people staying there, I guess, I don't know. And they were a mutual friend of my friends, so I'm like, okay, cool, we're in good company. But I had a really bad feeling, and as it turned out, they were keeping a guy caged downstairs. I don't know what they were doing to him, but they had, like, basically kidnapped him, and they were keeping him caged up downstairs, and he ended up getting out of his cage and coming upstairs and killing people. But me and my friend ended up getting out of there and running down the street, and I managed to hide in, like, a broken fenced-in portion of someone's, like, underneath their porch, and my friend was trying to get in, and he pulled her out by her leg, and he ended up pulling me out, too, and bringing us back to his place, and then he ended up killing my friend in front of me, and I woke up before he could kill me. But that was definitely bizarre. As far as any other ones, I have a lot of weird dreams that are of dark natures, but I don't remember right now, I guess is my best answer. These are so scatterbrained, and I'm so sorry for anyone who's watching this. 5. Other than feeling sick or nauseous, have you experienced any strange feelings in the tummy during any of these encounters? If so, what part of the belly did it feel like? Oh, what part of the belly and what did it feel like? Okay. So, there have been times where I've, like, my friend Callie and I will sometimes go out basically looking for trouble. Not, like, trouble with the law or anything, but we're looking for trouble with, like, paranormal things, you know what I mean? Like, we'll sometimes go out at night to, like, dark places, like in the middle of the woods, or in the cliche cemeteries, or schoolyards, or whatever. Like, we've done that. We used to do that for fun, because there wasn't much fun to do where we grew up, basically. That's the story for a lot of Maine, though, so, you know, you probably know what I'm talking about. But we used to go out into the middle of, like, different areas like that when it was dark out, and I did so with my friend Tia once, too, and we almost got kidnapped that time, but that's a story for another day, if you would be interested in hearing it, the time I almost got kidnapped. But anyway, let's see. There was one specific time that I'm not sure exactly where this would fit in, so I'm just going to include it here because I forgot to mention this earlier, but there was this period of time when I was living at my dad's house, and like I said, this weird stuff only happens like every so often, and then it stops, and then it'll happen again. Something different, though. I was basically just, like, going about my normal life. I would go to bed, and when I would wake up in the morning, my door was, like, cracked open, and I know that I had closed it, and I had locked it before I gone to bed, and my door locks from the inside. So there was literally, I think it was like a week and a half period of time where I would wake up in the morning and find that my door was open. And I couldn't figure out why, but that period of time, like when I would wake up, I had the sense that during the night, like I'd had dreams, or what I thought were dreams, that I was being watched by someone or something. I don't know. I have no idea, but I have a hiccup. So I don't know. It was just really, really freaky and surreal just waking up in the morning and seeing that my door had been open when I had latched it and locked it the night before to the best of my ability. And there was this one night in particular towards like the end of all of this like weird door opening type of thing. It just kind of stopped as abruptly as it started, to be honest with you. But there was one particular night where I had been compelled, I guess you could say, to go out into the woods because my house resided in like a pretty wooded area. So I was compelled to go out into the woods. And I go out and I'm walking along, and it was the middle of summer, so I'm wearing like a pair of shorts. And this doesn't go with unexplained marks because I can explain this, but I did get scratched from this. So it was just a tree branch, don't get too excited. But I was walking into the woods, and as I'm like walking along, I just get this sense of dread in my stomach that feels, I don't know how I would really explain this. Like, I don't know if I could explain like what part of my stomach it's in, just because it's not happening to me right now. But I guess I would say it's kind of similar to like, I would say it's like a mixture of being similar to the feeling of like the roller coaster drop type of thing, combined with like when I get really freaked out by something, like I mentioned veins in my last video really freaks me out, or was it this video? I don't know, I think it was the last one. I get like really freaked out, and to the point where I have like this weird like reaction that the school nurse once lectured my class about because I almost passed out in class. Anatomy senior year, fun times. But it basically feels like a sick to my stomach, but like empty sort of feeling at the same time. So it's like a combination of those, and it's really unpleasant. I don't really know how to explain it any better than that, but that's the best I can do. So, and I did end up seeing something that freaked me out so badly that I literally felt like my heart was going to, well, first stop and then explode. So I did the best that I could to just kind of calmly back away, but then I ended up panicking too much, and I started to run, and I received a scratch on my leg from a tree branch. So there was that. But that was a fun time. And then I was so scared that I think I literally blocked up my door, like my bedroom door, for the next few days, like at night. I also had like a trail of salt blocking like every entry possible to my room. And my dad one time like came into my room and he stepped on it, and he was like, "What the hell is that?" And I was like, "It's salt, and please put it back because you messed it up." But anyway, and speaking of dreams, this is literally all over the place. I'm so bad at tag videos. But anyway, speaking of dreams with, this isn't necessarily a dark figure, but this was a figure, and this stuck with me. And I have no idea if I've talked about this before on my channel, but there was one time when I was 11, we moved into the house that I grew up the rest of my years in. So the house I've been talking about up till this time, basically, it was the same house with the woods and everything. And the first night we moved in, and I got to sleep in my own new room and my new bed and everything. I was so excited, but I had this dream, and it was an extremely vivid dream, that I woke up in the morning, and, you know, it was the middle of the summer, so my family was at work, and I didn't have sisters at the time, or I had one or something, but she was at daycare because she was like an infant. But anyway, so it was extremely realistic to like what it would be normally. But I woke up, and I looked outside, and on the edge of the woods, which you could see perfectly from that bedroom window, I could see a woman standing there, and I couldn't like make out any features or anything. She was just standing there, just staring at me. And I got the feeling that she could see me everywhere I went, and I got the feeling that she didn't want to do good things to me. So literally I got the feeling in that dream that in every single part of the house she was watching me, she could see me, she knew what I was doing. Except for there was like one portion of the hallway that I would sit and basically just like curl up until my family got home, because that was the only place I felt like she couldn't see me. And there were times like after I had that dream, because that was the first night we moved in there, where I would just kind of, I would basically get the same feeling that I had in the dream that I was being watched, but I had never dared to like look out the window and see if that woman was standing there. Curse you, that woman. But, so that goes in with the dreams too. I'm so sorry. I'm awful at this. I'm awful at organizing my brain. I should have written this down. Okay. Did you notice any particular health problems at any time during these encounters? If so, what were they? Just shortness of breath, really. Like pretty much anything I've explained, like times when I've gone out with Callie places, like looking for ghosts, like trouble. I've experienced a shortness of breath. It kind of happens sometimes at work when I get like that sulfur smell, like I'll have like a shortness of breath. Basically anytime any of that happens to me, I do. It's not even just like a rapid like type of thing. It feels like someone is like sitting on my chest type of deal. And it doesn't really go away until I get myself out of that area, or whatever it is that's happening stops happening. So there's that. And that is it for the Dark Spirits tag, and now we're moving on to the Alien Abduction tag, which maybe I'll be slightly less scatterbrained about. I don't know. What is your favorite alien movie and why? I don't think I've seen all that many alien movies. I do watch, like, alien, like, shows on TV, like, you know, those late night alien television shows, because I do work a night shift and I have to be awake. So to keep myself awake, the only thing on at 4 in the morning is like Untold Alien Files, or Unsealed Alien Files, I think it is. So I watch that. But I do remember when I was very young, I watched Signs and I loved it, but it was really freaky. So that is probably still my favorite one, just because it's the first one I've ever seen. So that answers that. Before I ramble anymore, I'm moving on. 2, have you ever had any dreams or visions of being abducted by aliens? If so, what were they? No, I have not. Number 3, what did the aliens look like in your dreams or particular experience? No, I have not, so I can't answer that. Okay. Number 4, have you ever been the subject of any alien medical tests and experiments, or impregnated by aliens? If so, what happened and what were the experiments? No, and I'm also just thinking now that, like, if my neighbors are home right now and they can hear me, like, talking about this, they're probably like, we have, like, some really weird neighbors over there. They're the ones that are always listening to, like, Rammstein and, like, the foreign weird stuff. They're so strange. You're talking about aliens, but I don't really care what they think. Point blank. So, no, that has not happened to me, to my knowledge. Have you ever noticed any strange marks or implants? If so, where did you find them and what was it? No, I have not, but that reminds me of something I saw on Unsealed Alien Files once, which doesn't really, where people, like, sometimes they'll find implants and they're, like, more common than you would actually think. Like, there's a special surgeon who specializes in, like, removing alien implants, but anyway, that's okay. What do you think the purpose of the abduction was for? Again, I have not been abducted but that I know of. But yeah, so there was that, and I'm sorry that the first part was so rambly and the second part was so unhelpful, but this was my tag video, and once again, I tag you, Paige, and anybody else who wants to do this. Go subscribe to Paige because she's amazing. Thank you, Paranormal Researcher, for suggesting this because I had a lot of fun with it, even though I am a rambling moron most of the time. I hope you guys still love me because I love you. And that's it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.